We certainly had an interesting hearing happening on Capitol Hill here today as new declassified photos and videos of unexplainable floating objects were being shown. We did have some portions of that hearing played out earlier here today, but breaking it all down on what the latest is Chad Pergram. He's joining us here on Live Now from Fox. Chad, we really appreciate your time here today. I know that there was a lot of people who were looking forward to this, especially since this was the first hearing in 50 years.
That's right. Back in the 1960s, there was something that the Air Force had called Project Blue Book. This was their investigation into things. And in fact, there was a TV show that aired on NBC in the 1970s called Project Blue Book, which was based on some of those findings. Well, what we've had happen the past couple of years here is that Congress has wanted more answers from the military. There has been more concern. Is this overseas weapons technology by China or Russia or North Korea or somebody else? Or is this something that truly is unexplained? So today, this was a significant hearing, an open hearing, the first part before the House Intelligence Committee, then a closed session. There were two videos that were declassified that were played in the hearing. In other words, this is information, this is intelligence, this is videotape that the military had that they declassified so they could show it today. Now, there were two interesting components to this. One showed these kind of floating green triangles, and you look at that and they say, okay, that could in fact be a UFO. They think, and it took them a long time to figure this out, that those are actual drones and the types of video equipment that they were using to document this, plus night vision goggles made these drones look green and look like they were floating. However, there was another piece of video which they showed, which they said, we really don't know what that was. There's a famous episode when the military released some video back, it was around June of last year, video from 2004 and 2015 off the Pacific coast of objects flying close to the water. There's a lot of question as to whether or not, some of this stuff defies the laws of physics. And some of the witnesses today basically said, we can't explain some of this, Kristi.
And Chad, I do have some of those photos showing here for our viewers, and it really was an interesting thing to be watching this morning. But what are the next steps, especially since I know that there's a lot of people who think that there's even more knowledge out there that still has not been shared with us?
Well, the key here, and this is something that Andre Carson, the Democratic congressman from Indiana, who chaired the subcommittee, led the hearing here, emphasizes, he wanted a commitment that when pilots presented this information, that they would not be considered to be, his term, quote, kooks. There was kind of this stigma, according to Congressman Carson, that for years when they would report these things that nobody took them seriously. And Carson said that the Pentagon often focuses on what it can explain and ignores what it can't. Well, there's a lot of things here that they can't explain, but now they are getting more involved in trying to explain some of these things.
And when I was watching this morning, Chad, I don't know if you heard some of those questions, but one of them was asking, is this always from one moving object? They see it in the sky, and they said, no, there's even people that have been stationary that have seen these moving objects. But something that kind of struck interesting to me was the fact that they don't believe these are manned objects. I think that was a big emphasis of this morning that I caught. How about you? Anything that stood out to you about today's hearing?
Well, I think just the fact that they were being forthcoming with this and declassifying these videos. I think the other thing is there truly a military threat from somebody else? Maybe there's things, and this supposition has been out there. Maybe some of this stuff actually belongs to the United States, and that there is a siloing of the information for obvious reasons. If it, in fact, is in that lane, that is unclear. The other thing that came out is that some of the military officials said, we have questions too. We get asked questions by our families around the dinner table, our friends. One official testified that, in fact, he had friends and family who did not believe that the moon landing was real, that was fake. So there's a lot of skepticism here. And, last week, late last week, I interviewed Congressman Carson, ahead of this hearing, and I asked him, I said, have you ever seen anything? What's the strangest thing that you've ever seen? And he said, well, I'll tell you, some of the strangest things I've ever seen have gone on in the House chambers the past 2 years. And that is a direct quote.
I do agree. There's been some crazy things happening on Capitol Hill, but this certainly has opened up our eyes and our ears, and I'm sure that there's only going to be more information shared. We really appreciate you breaking it down for us all. I know it was something that a lot of people were looking forward to. Fox's Chad Pergram joining us here on Live Now from Fox. Thanks so much, Chad.
Kristi, the truth is out there.
It really is. The videos and pictures are showing it too. So, Chad, thanks so much.